Good morning, all. Thank you for joining us. I am Johnette Edwards. I'm the founder of Daze Professional Development Group. This morning, we are here with Dr. Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser, and she's going to talk to us today about Fear Not, Discomfort is a Dream Fertilizer. So I'm just going to give you a little information about Dr. Johnette Ruffner-Ceaser. She teaches professional women how to leverage their professional superpowers on, one resume at a time. She is the CEO and founder of Liberated Expressions LLC, a professional services oasis, wow, that provides mesmerizing resume strategy support and inspirational life and career coaching. Dr. Ceaser is also the co-founder of Community Coaches, and she is the author of When the Bow Breaks, a children's book that teaches girls to love and embrace their natural beauty and talents. I'm going to turn it right over to Dr. Ceaser, and if I missed anything, please tell us a little about yourself before you begin. I'm going to mute myself and stop my video. Thank you.
Thank you. Danette, you didn't miss anything at all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I am really excited and pleased to be here with you. I don't believe in coincidences or accidents. I believe that everyone on this Zoom is here for a specific reason and purpose, and I can't wait to see what's in store for us. Danette, before I go any further, thank you for the invitation, but also thank you for creating this space for professionals to be able to come to not only get resources, but you've created, I believe, a safe space for people to come to connect with one another, and to grow. And so for that, sis, I appreciate you. So let's just dig in. What you may not know and where this presentation comes from is because I navigated through 2 layoffs, and those 2 layoffs taught me how to dream, maybe to dream again, or maybe to dream for the very first time. The layoffs didn't come early in my career. They actually came after I had obtained my 3rd degree, which was my doctorate. The layoffs came at a time where I thought I had done everything right. I had gone, of course, to high school, graduated, went directly into college. After I finished my undergraduate work, I went to pursue a master's. After the master's, I went to work for some wonderful organizations, one of those being the NAACP headquarters, where I moved up the ranks. And I went on to obtain other roles, moving and progressing just as I was supposed to. The layoff came at a time where I thought I could get comfortable, but that just wasn't the case for me. So if you would allow me to share a little background, I also want to share my screen with you. And Johnette, please let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. All right. So to give you a little background, I was educated and unemployed with a negative bank account to match. And as you can imagine, as someone where you thought you did everything right, I was scared, frustrated, angry, and most of all, embarrassed. How was it that now I am Dr. Ceaser and I don't have a job? And so what that also did to some degree was it crushed my dreams. So basically what happened is after graduation, after I received my doctorate, I went back into the workforce. And I had to resign from my full-time job because I was at a point where I could not work full-time and complete my dissertation at the same time. And so I made the decision to resign. When it was time to go back into the workforce, my advisor and everyone around me said, the sky's the limit, that you will be able to get back into the workforce with no problem. Well, that wasn't my story. Eventually, I did go back, but I ended up taking a $20,000 pay cut. because I knew that I could get another job with a job. So I took the opportunity. Within less than a year, I was laid off due to budget cuts. Fast forward a few years later, obtained another role, started off as a director, moved up to managing director. I was at the salary point that I had wanted, had always thought about and dreamed about. And lo and behold, that organization decides we want to reorg, or we need to reorg. And they decided to eliminate all of their middle managers and some of their senior management folks. And so there I was, I'd done everything right. And wondering, how was this happening to me? I did what I was supposed to do, and now here I am, and now what? My now what was starting Liberated Expressions. But I want to ask you, what is your now what? Sorry, should have started from the beginning here. Okay, what is your now what? So COVID is here, folks. Now what? What are you doing? COVID has disrupted our comfort. It has not only pulled the comforter back, but it has stripped the bed. It is taking off the sheets, the comforter, the pillowcases, everything, exposing our vulnerability, leaving many of us afraid, uncertain, and scared. And the question again I have for you is, now what? You know, I like one thing that I have learned in a season of discomfort. There are two major things that I've learned about comfort and discomfort. The first is comfort is the leading cause of dream deaths. Comfort is the leading cause of dream deaths. And next to every dead dream lies a comfortable dreamer. And which leads me also to discomfort is dream fertilizer, because greatness is sparked out of periods of crisis. But it will be an uncomfortable ride, and you must be brave, optimistic, creative in order to reach your destination. You know, it's funny because I think COVID, and probably like many of you, see this time and this season that we're in, it's almost like we're in the twilight zone. But not only the twilight zone, if I were to take a more optimistic view of the season that we're in, I think this is the most, this feels like we're on the set of the greatest makeover show ever, right? So you know the premise of those makeover shows. If you recall Extreme Makeover or What Not to Wear, it starts with the backstory, right? The backstory of the person who's getting the makeover, why they want or need the makeover, what the makeover will mean to them, and what they will do once the process is complete. And then there's the great reveal. In my mind, using your dreams, this is the time for you to decide, do you want a makeover? And are you going to do the work to make that happen? With a makeover, what does that mean to you? And what will you do if you decide to use your dreams to create something new for yourself? This season is your opportunity to be the person you always wanted to be, to reintroduce yourself to the world, to erase the chalkboard. The rules have changed, folks, and the limits are off. And the only limits, really, to be quite frank with you, that are around are the ones that you've placed on yourself. I want to share a funny story with you. Do you know, it was the other day that I decided, officially concluded, that the limits are off. So I had a business meeting with someone that I had met on LinkedIn. And this person was talking with me about her services, and she had on pajamas, nice pajamas, but pajamas nonetheless. And so as I'm talking with her and learning more about her services, in the back of my mind, I said, wow, she's ballsy, right? The fact that she would come on a call with pajamas on suggested to me that she is very confident within herself and with the services that she's offering. Now, I personally wouldn't do it, but for her, it worked. And many others, I'm sure it works. And I was just thinking, my goodness, the limits are off. So not only was she doing business in her pajamas, but she was doing business from another country. So she's exposing herself all over the world, doing business via Zoom. But here, some of us are, interestingly, where we're unsure, right? We're afraid to take leaps. We're worried that we're not good enough, smart enough, educated enough, professional enough. And there are folks out here doing business in their pajamas. It's time to stop being afraid. And here are the classic signs that you may be operating in fear. You're overthinking, you're procrastinating, and there's a lack of clarity and confusion. And let me help you to understand really what confusion is. Confusion is knowing what to do, but being too afraid to do it. So let's not be afraid any longer, okay? I want to help you today to turn your discomfort into dream fertilizer. In other words, I want to help you to use the discomfort that you may be feeling in order to help make your dreams come true. And I'm framing most of this within within the professional realm, okay? But it can be applied within. And I just noticed I said 8 ways. I'm actually going to give you 7 ways. All right. The first is embrace the discomfort, right? There's no magic bullet to this. There's no fairy dust. There are no get rich quick schemes. And folks, even those of you that pray, even God, after we pray, requires us to do work. So all I'm saying to you is lean into it. This may be an uncomfortable season, but it's time, as one of my friends would say, time to put some starch in your frame and get ready and do the work. The next is stop editing your dreams. The challenge with many of us, in my experience, this has been, unfortunately, with many of my female clients, that when asked to dream, the first thing we do is, rather than allow our minds to just flow, we start asking questions and making statements. So the first question, we'll get the dream out halfway and then we stop. And then the first question is, how? And then we start to make statements like, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the degree or the certification. I'm too old for that. I have kids. I'm getting ready to retire. And the list goes on and on and on until the dream is completely snuffed out. So stop editing your dreams. 3, assess what you have in your hand. I have 3 degrees, so clearly I value education. However, what I have learned is that degrees alone don't make your dreams come true. I always say you can be well educated, but not well activated. You can have all of the book sense in the world, but if you don't put it to work, put it in action, I don't know how much it actually means. And many of us sometimes, and when it comes to assessing what we have in our hand, professionally, your resume is your treasure chest. There's so many riches in it, but you need to know how to utilize it. But because you have, you think the resume writing process is such a grueling process, which is why you get someone else to write it for you, you're kind of shooting yourself in the butt. in the butt, sorry, in the foot, in the foot. And I liken it to you're social distancing yourself from your resume. You don't really know what's in it, right? And you're masking your skills and expertise because you downplay your accomplishments and you may not necessarily know your real value. And so here's the question that I always ask or say. So many of us are trying to obtain opportunities or dreams, but we're unsuccessful because we don't know what we're selling. We don't know what we have to offer. So here's a question. Would you pay thousands of dollars for something if you didn't know or weren't clear on the purpose, the function, and the results of that product? Absolutely not. Of course not. And so the same is true for our resumes and really assessing and knowing what we have in our hand. How can we obtain something if we don't already know what we have in our hand, the resources that we can utilize to get there? All right. I don't know if we're kind of quiet here, but if you have any comments, I'm a church girl, so I feed off of and love amens, yes, work it, whatever the case may be, to continue moving forward. All right. Next, start being honest and say what you want. So I believe in being transparent. So there was a season in my marriage where things got a little interesting. And so my husband and I were having a conversation, and I was sharing some things that I needed. And at a moment in that conversation, he said to me, well, everything must be all right because you're still here. Now, can't say I didn't get upset about that statement, but at the same time, I started thinking about it and thinking about it. And what came to me as I was able to process it and apply it in a professional sense, that employers may be saying to you, everything must be okay because you're still here. And you're still there in that toxic environment, in that less than ideal environment, because you're afraid to take the leap. You're afraid to make your dreams come true. You're afraid not even just to make the dreams come true, but you're afraid even to just simply dream and allow your mind to go to a place of just creating whatever it is that you want to create. So now's the time to start being honest. Say what you want. Don't accept everything, and put some things into place that's going to change your life. Believe that you are good enough. It's just that simple. And even if you don't believe it, dream and do it anyway. Stop settling for crumbs. You're settling for crumbs because you don't know your worth. And quite frankly, you've gotten really comfortable with where you are. And that's a death sentence. Like, oh, I'm good. But at the same time, your spirit is dying. Oh, I know my job, like the back of my hand. Or I've put in a lot of time here, but it's killing you. You dread going to work, right? You dread it. You're bored. There's no excitement. And so you're settling because you're comfortable. Or you have a wealth of experience and you have what is beyond the requirements of your next promotion, but you haven't pursued it because you're still thinking, well, I don't know if I'm good or not enough. And so you don't pursue the promotion. You don't pursue the raise. You don't execute the dream. Instead, you remain stagnant, selling for crumbs. And finally, it's time to collaborate. You've been rolling solo. You've had these thoughts and ideas in your mind. You haven't maybe collaborated because you don't know who to trust, or you haven't even shared your ideas with anyone. You can't, you can do this by yourself, but maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it's time to collaborate. And your dreams will come true. The chances of it coming true when you join forces with someone else are more likely if you do it with someone than not. And I'm not necessarily saying full partnership. It could be just sharing your ideas. It could be obtaining, a thought partner. It could be asking someone to help you to strategize and to plan it out. But it's time to collaborate. And there are folks doing so many great things right now that the field of possibilities is vast. And so I encourage you to find folks that you can work with to begin to take discomfort and move them into a field of dreams that you can execute. Okay, so to help you to get started and your creative juices flowing, here are some things that I have created. Some just since COVID, because I too have had to make the shift. I've had to pivot. It's been scary. It's been uncomfortable. One of my pivots has been doing workshops and sessions via Zoom. I much rather prefer talking to people in live, in front of folks, so that I can feel their energy. It's a very weird thing to talk to people that I can't see, but we are all making the adjustment. And so here are a few things. Revision. One of my workshops, it's now called Provision, but revision is where resume writing meets vision boarding. How great is that, right? Women have participated in that workshop. One woman answered her call to ministry in this workshop. Another woman, a middle school principal, embraced her gift of artistry and started a whole business. She's still a principal, but started a whole business around her art. And so I want you to know that when you execute your dreams, there are lives associated with your dream. So once you execute, then you are unlocking the door for so many other people. So now is the time. I created another program, Live Your Dream. This is a dream partner service. I figured if folks are going to be at home, they need someone to talk to figure out what the next step is, and for someone to just hear non-judgmentally what the idea is, and for me to possibly share my expertise, and for us to come together to talk about how to create what's next for you. I did a live reading on Facebook with my daughter of our book, When the Bow Breaks. And it was our 1-year anniversary. We got on together, did a reading, took questions. It was wonderful. Again, creativity, utilizing our ideas and focus, making the dream come alive. I created devotions for weary professionals. This is simply writings that I penned while I was going through my layoff season. And I still had these things, and I kept, it was writing in a journal, and decided to read or share through an audio file on YouTube some of those encouraging messages. And I knew people needed that because they were going through this season with COVID of discomfort. The career stimulus package. I collaborated with someone I met on LinkedIn to create this package. It provides resume strategy support as well as LinkedIn support. So she and I have collaborated to create the service. I co-founded Community Coaches as I pursued my life coaching certification, two of my classmates decided that we wanted to come together to provide life coaching through community coaches. And finally, can we talk? After the murder of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, I wanted an opportunity to basically address maybe my own ignorance, but to talk to people that are different than I, think differently, live differently, to be able to create a platform that we can learn and grow together. But in addition to that, collaborated with a college freshman. He created this shirt, the No Ignorance shirt, and we collaborated to create this space. These are all things that are available, right? It takes creativity, it takes boldness. I'm not sharing these things to sell any of my services. I'm not sharing them to boast or brag. I'm sharing them to let you know that we all have to make an adjustment. But it does require us to put a little thought into it and be willing to move forward. And hopefully what I've shared has also given you some ideas as well. So I have a few things to share with you, depending on where you are, right? And how to keep your dreams moving during this time of discomfort. So I went back to assessing what you have in your hand. There are so many things that you can offer right now in this season. Your dreams don't have to die. They may not come about as you initially thought about them, but you can create something new. Did I know that I was going to create liberated expressions? Absolutely not. I have a higher ed nonprofit management background. Professional services was not on my radar. So it required me being open. It required me assessing what I have. It required me thinking about what was going to make me happy in this season. And so I say the same to you. So if you're or underemployed, maybe start freelancing, right? Maybe help some small business owners. I know I need support. I know others that need support by way of creating websites, social media content, managing the technology. There are things that you have that you can use to support other people while you also support yourself and the dreams that you may have. Create a platform for yourself. Johnette created CDPD, but it's also a possible opportunity for you to share and talk and present something with the group. Therefore, the beginning of your platform and creating a whole new avenue for yourself. Volunteer and tell people what you do. If you're dreaming about moving to the next level in your career, one of the best things you can do is to increase your exposure. Meaning, publish some articles. Doesn't have to be the Huffington Post. You can publish articles via LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn articles have their own unique address that you can use and share anywhere, right? Establish yourself as a thought leader. All of those things that you have learned in your profession, all of the things that you have learned as a result of being in this season of COVID, you can start talking and writing about those things. Social media posts, doing trainings, workshops, all of that are good avenues for moving forward, creating a new lane for yourself, or is helping you to move closer to your dream in a traditional work environment. Be a thought leader. Solve problems, anticipate what's needed before it's needed, not only from a potential employer, but also from the masses of people who need you right now. And speak up. Don't be the best kept secret. Entrepreneurs, there are so many needs out here. I know you might be doing one thing, but think about what else you can do. Think about, dig into your treasure chest, your bag of goodies, and say, what else can I do to address the needs that folks have right now? Add value. Don't always give to get, just give. And you will get. As the adage says, or the scripture goes, you reap what you sow. You're sowing good seed, it will come back to you. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Be willing to work with people who are outside of your community. Meaning, if you're a woman, be willing to work with a male. If you're a person of color, work with someone who isn't. If you're straight, be willing to work with someone who's gay. It doesn't matter. How can we come together so that we can all make our dreams come true? And finally, take more consistent leaps, more consistent steps. And one thing I always say, not only for entrepreneurs, but for all of us, the net, and I don't know, I wish I had come up with the saying, but I heard it a few weeks ago. The net appears after you jump. The net appears after you jump. If you're waiting to see the safety net first, it's probably not going to happen. And I know that from experience, where as I created Liberated Expressions, I liken it to Hansel and Gretel, trying to find their way back home with the breadcrumbs. And for me, it was foggy. I couldn't see my way. But as long as I saw the breadcrumbs, I knew I was headed in the right direction. But here's the other piece to this. You'll never see the next breadcrumb unless you move. And that's just real talk. You'll never see it unless you move. And that means being uncomfortable, right? Comfort is not going to get you to the next level. So discomfort presents opportunities. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to discard baggage, to leave some things behind, to reinvent yourself, to dream, to create, and figure out who you are and what you're made of. I will tell you, I thought I knew me, but it wasn't until my layoffs and starting this business that I really see what I am made of. And I would venture to say that people that have worked with me, my former colleagues when I was working a traditional job before I became an entrepreneur, I guarantee that I am a different person today than I was then. Guarantee it. Because I was in the background. I would support other people. And why did I do that? Because it was comfortable, right? But now, in this season, I'm showing up in a way that many have not seen. I show up, I surprise myself sometimes, to be quite honest with you. And so don't disparage this season, this time. Embrace it for what it's worth, because it is an opportunity and the opportunities are vast. So I encourage you to lean in. I encourage you to dream. If you need support with that, I am available. I would love to talk with all of you. One of the first things that I do with a client or a new potential client is I offer a free 30-minute clarity call where we can discuss any of the offerings that I've shared with you. It could be resume strategy support, all the way to having a dream partner, or if you are in need of a life coach. So I want to thank you. I'm going to stop sharing here, and you all see my web address here, liberated-expressions.com. It has been a real pleasure for me to share, and I see that I have, let's see, 2 questions and some information here in the chat.
Okay, I'll read them.
Okay.
And then I'll look through the chat. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first, I want to say thank you. I'm so sorry that we had this technical difficulty, but I was able to stream it to YouTube. So people aren't used to us streaming live on YouTube, but it's out there, and I will post this in our group. This has helped me so much. I've taken so many notes, Dr.
Terrific.
Caesar. Okay, so. And yes, I was saying my amens in here, okay, and then trying to get this group of people to give you some encouragement, because I know you need that. As you said, you miss that face-to-face interaction as you're presenting, and they have given you some encouragement. So let me start with these questions. Okay, so what if you are not, this is from Rhonda Rodriguez, and Rhonda's in the Jamaica, West Indies. She's from the U.S., but she lives in Jamaica, West Indies with her family now.
Okay.
What if you're not seeing it as a makeover? What you're saying makes a lot of sense. However, many people may be old-fashioned, and this new way of life is being forced on us. Would you say that is a negative take on the situation? So you don't see this as a crisis. For me, it's not so much fear as it is the concern of overuse of all the gadgets and technology. I was working behind a desk until it became a mandate.
Sure. So, hi, Rhonda, and thank you so much for your question. So, everything, everything in life is a decision. Um, and you have to make a choice. And the reality is, we were moving in this direction even before COVID. And here are a couple of examples. When was the last time you walked into, I don't know, a Walmart, a grocery store, and you saw the first self-checkout line, and then you saw a second, and then the third? And now in many stores, it's half and half, self-checkout and then the traditional way to check out. That is an indication to you that technology is becoming more of a force than yeah, more and more of a force. We don't even need to go to the bank anymore. You can cash a check by using an app on your cell phone. And so we've been moving in this direction, but have we been paying attention? And so to look at this as, is it being forced on you? Again, you can choose to do that. At the same time, I don't know that it's productive to do that. I think it's important to find and figure out, how you can begin to move into that space. What things can you do? And I know, when things feel forced, we tend to put forth some resistance. But I really want to encourage you, and trust me, Rhonda, I don't like all of it either. I'm uncomfortable too. But being uncomfortable is not going to change the situation. Resisting it is not going to change the situation. And if you look throughout history, you will see various moments, significant moments, where we've had to move with what's happening all around us. And so I don't know if that makes you feel any better, but I really hope that as the days go on and that you begin to allow this presentation to sink into your spirit, that you will walk away with a renewed sense that you can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's not what I would have preferred, but I'm going to do something new today.
Thank you, Dr. Caesar. Okay, I have another one. All the questions in the actual Q&A come from Rhonda, but there's some in the messages, but I'm going to do the Q&A first.
Okay.
So, wow, the net appears after you jump. You are absolutely correct. Through adversities, we are really forced to come out of our comfort zone. Okay, that was a comment. Okay, you are right. We are moving in this direction. We were moving in this direction prior to COVID. And okay, so the more I embrace this change, the less bothered I will feel, and everything will feel better. I get it. Okay, so that's those. So I'm gonna go ahead and look through the chat really quickly. That's the 4 that were in the So thanks a lot, Dr. Ruffner-Ceaser. How do you encourage a family member who has low self-esteem?
Oh wow, that's another bag of worms. But what I do, and and Danette, if you can share the name of that
Oh, that's
person.
Carolyn. I'm sorry.
Okay, no
It's in the
problem.
chat. That was Carolyn. I'm
No
sorry,
problem.
Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. Thank you so much for the question. What I've done is I pull out and let that person know what I see that's valuable in them. And I not only lay out, you're a kind person, you're creative, but I give examples. And I talk to them, I make it very personal about how who they are shows up in my life and how they have helped me with something, or what I've seen in them that has helped someone else. And so, I think many times we give just kind of surface level support. Oh, you're great, or, you do this well. But I think it takes another level to dig in and say, this is why I think this. This is why. And so, you self-esteem, it really is a personal journey, because there's a reason why a person feels or has low self-esteem. There's an experience, and it may go back, having the person just go back even in their childhood to talk about, well, when did you first feel this way? What was the situation? What was the incident? What was the narrative? What was said to you that made you first feel this way? And we'll find, once that person is able to go back and do that work, it has fueled everything else in their lives. So affirmation, positive reinforcements are great. It's gonna help some, but I also think the other piece of that is supporting the person to go back and having them articulate what they're feeling, why they're feeling it, and when did they first feel it. And I will also promote, sometimes we have to get help. Sometimes we need someone outside of our family members to talk to in order to build us up in the way that is lasting.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Caesar. So I have from Mildred. Mildred Allen says, you are absolutely right. The change is something that was needed for managers that would not allow employees to work from home. Thank you for your feedback. So that, and then
Thank you,
Mildred,
Mildred.
sorry, Mildred, I know you got in late because I couldn't stream over. Dr. Caesar spoke about toxic environments at workplace, and I know you have to catch this replay, Mildred. It's going to greatly bless you. All right, so then I have from Rhonda, well, yes, I am very open with communicating, Dr. Caesar. You have helped me to look at this from a much needed perspective, because I started to feel like I was drowning.
Wow.
But you placing the focus on embracing change and moving out of the comfort zone is truly what will make things happen. Sorry, I'm long-winded. Laugh out loud. I like to say I'm transparent. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rhonda.
All right, let me see. We got some more down here. Thank you very much for that explanation, says Carolyn. Yes, Mildred is absolutely correct, says Rhonda. Amen, Dr. Caesar, you're doing great, says Rhonda. I didn't want to do the amen because I don't want to say I'm biased, but I was doing my amen in
Right.
here, right? So I said, I don't want to do the amen myself on the screen, but I sure was. CDPD was a golden idea. This was brilliant. We need this. The world really is in a new place. Publish on LinkedIn for free. Yes, Rhonda, you just have to write the article. Just write it. And
Yes.
if you're writing a post on LinkedIn and it becomes too long, it's an article. I should probably, somebody should post about that in the group. I'll ask somebody besides me to post about it in the group. It's free and you can get your ideas out there. Yes, ma'am, I need to keep my dreams moving. I don't know if I have unrealistic expectations, but it's hard not to get discouraged when you don't feel like you're flourishing.
And I get that. It's not always as easy as we would like it to be. I mean, I'm fully transparent. Since COVID in particular, I have had major downs, low highs and lows. Because we're all adjusting, we're all in the same boat. But I will tell you, get your tribe, meaning some folks around you that are moving not even necessarily in the same direction, but they're moving, they're thinking people, they're doing things. Get an accountability partner. I have 2 accountability partners. One we talk every Sunday, the other we talk every Thursday. You need other people to support you. Particularly if you're like me. I give a lot, right? I pour into people, but it's sometimes difficult to find people who might pour into me. And so I need those support systems. To think that you're going to do this alone, don't do it. Don't even try to do it. Isolation, we have enough of that with COVID. But isolation regarding your dreams and staying up and staying balanced is not the answer.
Thank you. All right, I have one here. My support system has gotten me through this career transition, and that's Mildred. Yeah, we need
Yes.
them. What I keep taking away from this platform, this is Rhonda, from every presenter, including you, is that one more than ever, we need support. Okay, I guess now more than ever, we need support. Yeah, I mean now more than ever. Sorry, we need support. Yes, we do, I
Yes.
think. Okay, that one was answered live. I don't have anything else, guys. If you have something, please drop it. Because I'm getting ready to ask Dr. Caesar my questions. So I'm gonna start mine, and then if you guys decide that you have anything, you'll drop it there and I'll cover those. So let me show my face. All right. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Caesar. I really appreciate you coming to share with us today. For everyone there's some people who had to jump off, I did drop the contact information for Dr. Caesar in the box in terms of her LinkedIn, but anyone who's on this Zoom is going to receive her contact information, her website, everything, okay? So you'll have all of that and I will post it in our group as well. Okay, Dr. Caesar. CDPD's mission is to increase marginalized groups' access to employment and representation in the workforce by providing our members with free training, mentorship, and other resources. CDPD was created in response to record unemployment and underemployment rates stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. My question to you is, have you ever been marginalized, right? And we say we don't marginalize ourselves, okay? So I'm not saying did you marginalize yourself. Have you ever been marginalized, And if so, if you wouldn't mind telling us how.
Danette, I'm sure that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But to recall a specific instance, I don't know that I can. Now, have I been in situations like you said where I have limited myself? Yeah, I've definitely done that. Be it in a room full of men, be it in a room full of people that don't look like me, be it entering into this professional services space coming from a higher ed nonprofit background. Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you, in that vein, you all don't laugh. I thought when I started this business that I only had a message for Black people. I thought Black people were the only ones that would listen to me until in one of my workshops, a white gentleman said to me, this one slide I had, he was like, that's it. That's golden. This one Asian woman, you know, I always ask at the end of my workshops, was this helpful for you? Everyone said yes and how, and she was the only one who said she didn't know. And for me, even if one person is like no, or like I don't know, I feel like I need to do better, because I want everyone to walk away with something. She and I ended up in the elevator together, and she said to me, I figured out why I haven't been able to get a job, and you helped me to do that, you know, with my resume. And she said, because I didn't believe in myself. And you helped me to realize that it wasn't my resume. It wasn't a lack of experience. It was me and my mindset. That was the day that I'm like, okay, yep, I have something, you know. But we limit ourselves. And that was comfort for me to say or think, I can only, Black folk are the only folks that are going to embrace me, is a limiting, comfortable, silly idea.
Yeah.
It really is. And why in the world, after all of the degrees that I have, the professional experience, that I would still end up with such limited thinking? Why? But it goes to show, you can have all of the great titles in the world. You can have 50 million degrees, 1,100 certificates, and still not progress and flourish the way that you should, right?
Yeah.
Or the way that you can, the way that you have the potential to do. And I'll tell anybody that I know a lot of people who are, and I'm not saying don't do this, but are going back to school, spending money, going back for certifications, because they think those are the things that are going to make their dreams come true. And I'm here to tell you, maybe not. Now, if somebody else is paying for it, by all means. But I'm just saying that be careful, because you could walk away from that process disappointed because it didn't get you all that you thought you could get, right? Also, COVID is changing things in such a way that we now realize, I mean, it was moving in that direction anyway. There are lots of folks popping up with new things, creative things, innovative things. They don't have the first degree or certification in that particular area. It was based on creativity and the boldness to put it out there.
Yes.
And so what does that mean for you as a professional? And that's why I'm saying, do not sleep on this. Do not be lulled asleep and lullabied by comfort. Lean into the discomfort, create something new, even if you don't have a background in it. And I even spoke with a recruiter that told me that there are some roles that you don't even necessarily need that the certain education for. You know, we've grown up, get the education. If you're not, I won't say how old I am, but we grew up, get as much as you can. But we need to start telling ourselves and our children. Grades alone, degrees alone aren't gonna do it. Create some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Make a difference. It's the name of the game.
This is true. And one of the things here with CDPD, and I don't want to discourage anyone from pursuing education. I have so many degrees, okay? And I have so much student loan debt, okay? And I've always been more educated than everyone in my workplace. Whether they were higher than me or at my level, I always had more education and credential. So that let me know that I didn't need all of that credential and education. There were other ways for me to get there. I probably didn't know those ways, right? But there were other ways for me to get there. So, and as you said, Dr. Ceaser, there are so many people, and I always say Silicon Valley because that's the way of the world, but there's so many people in the tech world who don't have technical degrees. Some of them have no degrees at all. We know that Mark Zuckerberg left school and created Facebook, right? Well, there's so many people like him who don't necessarily come from a privileged background who are out there creating these startups. So that's just something to think for you creatives. I'm not creative, and I created CDPD, and I am so not creative, right? So there's something out there, and I always say, what is it that you have in your hand? And you have something in your hand, and your heart, and your mind. Okay, so let me get, so I'm gonna ask you a question though, but, and I have to have, maybe I'll have a discussion, a longer discussion on marginalization, because I will counter what you say and say that you didn't limit yourself because you limited yourself if you're in a room full of white men or you're in these situations, but that you were marginalized, because if you weren't, there would have been a stage set where you were comfortable to say, I can talk, I can compete, I can act in this, instance. But anyway, let's not go there. Yes, right? But I asked the question because we have people in the group who are marginalized by all kinds of things, whether it is race, gender, their thought, I think differently. We had Annie Lieb came into the group and said, yes, white Jewish woman. She says, yeah, I was marginalized because they wouldn't let me talk at work. So there's all kinds of ways you can be marginalized, whether sexual orientation or whatever. But I want people to know that in spite of that, you can be a creator. In spite of that, you can own your own business. In spite of that, you can overcome. So that's why I asked that question. My next question is, I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but and I see some more questions coming in, and I'm going to ask them after mine. So if you go back to the beginning of your journey, your professional journey, what is something that you, knowing what you know now, you'd want to go back and say to Johnette before she was Dr. Ruffner-Ceaser? What would you want to say to her?
Really, I mean, it would be, you are whole and complete, and you are good enough. And I know many of you, like me, it has taken forever to get to a place where I could finally say, I am enough already. Good grief, right? I don't need another pat on the back, validation, another degree, certificate, blah, 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 blah. Just do it already, because everything you need is within you right now. Does that mean you don't need training? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. Does it mean you don't need to collaborate? Doesn't necessarily mean that. Just get started. And I'll take the line from Michelle Obama, they're not that smart. Whoever they is, they're not that smart. And you really do have what it takes. So just show up and do it. Even if you're afraid. I've done many things where I'm scared out of my mind, but the payoff, my God, the payoff. And I'm not saying payoff monetarily. I'm not saying payoff publicity. I'm saying payoff in your spirit, right? You start building that confidence block up each time you do something that you were scared out of your mind to do.
Yes.
Right? And then you'll take bigger and bigger leaps. Yes. And then you'll jump and you won't hesitate to see the net. You just know the net's going to be there somewhere, right?
I love it. Okay, this is my final, but then we have some more from here. So what do you want to leave us with, Dr. Ceaser? Just if there's one thing you want us to walk away with. There's so much you said, and I got so many notes, but if there's one thing you want us to walk away with, what is it?
Do it.
Just do it.
Please.
All right.
Please do it.
Please do it.
If there ever was a time, this is the time. And we talk about a level playing field, may not be racially, but in many other aspects, we're all in the same boat, right? Stop. It's time out for the negative self-talk. Is it going to come? Absolutely, but counter it. Don't fall into it. Utilize your network. If there are folks just within the CDPD group, I mean, you're coming on to see Johnette and the guest speakers, but are you talking and making connections with one another?
Mm-hmm.
You probably, some of you right now, have a presentation that you could give in this group, but you haven't done it because you're afraid. You're overthinking it. You're like, well, let me check out the other speakers. Let me
And that's
see
what
what they
say
do,
too.
right? And then what you do, then you start to compare. Why are you going to compare? You're not me. I'm not you. You're going to give something totally different. Get off of, I'm sorry, unless it's informational, don't stop spending so much time on social media, because that is the biggest confidence deflator ever. Ever. And the other thing, last but not least, there are a lot of services out here. I mean, to the point where I get overwhelmed. 5 steps to this, 3 ways to do that, create this, and I have that, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I'm sure they're all wonderful. You can invest, and you should, in some of them, because you might need some tools, right? But don't get the information and then not use it. You just made somebody else rich.
Yes. I love it.
Right? Do it.
Yes.
And even if you call me, make up in your mind you're going to do it, because then all we've done for the free clarity call is wasted 30 minutes.
Yes.
That's it. You've had enough pep talks. How many more is it going to take?
And you can go out there on YouTube and get so many more of those, but you can't get what you're going to get from Dr. Ceaser on that clarity call, right? So when you get it, you need to take your notes and you need to act on it, right? Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
Right. So
I
it's a
have
decision.
a couple of things. All right, so, all right. Dr. Ceaser, how busy is your household? I only ask this because this is one of the challenges people, including myself, are having. Rhonda has 5 children and a very supportive husband, but she has 5 children ranging from age 13 to 5, including the 5-year-old twins.
Yes, Rhonda, I feel you, girl. I feel you. So that is not my life. I have 1 child, and she's 12. A very supportive husband, and I do. I hear you, and I understand. One of the things that I share with folks is there has to be a conversation in the home. And Rhonda, maybe you've done this. Maybe it's a schedule, right? Mom, this is mom's time, right? And it has to be that. And husband has to help with keeping that schedule. The older children may need to help with keeping that schedule. Maybe there's a reward for giving mom this time to do what she does, but really being creative. Another great thing that you can do, if you haven't already, put some of the kids to work. Help mom, right? File some stuff, or, manage my social media page for me. Help to create some content for me. Think of ways that are fun for them, but also teaching them, right? But also giving you the additional support you need, and maybe the space that you need as well. Again, not saying it's easy. I don't know all the dynamics of your home, but rather than, just pushing against it, figuring out and being creative, how can I reformat this to make it work for all of us?
Yes, going back to school may not be the answer, but for sure networking does help. Lean into discomfort. Brilliant. You look young, Dr. Ceaser. All right. Okay, that's Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
So Mildred says soft skills will allow you to go further than a degree. In addition, your degree is always supported by executives. Okay, let's see. I got an amen. I got just get started with a lot of claps. Dr. Caesar, you're a prophetess, and I love your strength. Yes,
Thank you.
incorporate my children in what I'm doing. Perfect. There are a number of other people on this live. It's not just Mildred and Rhonda, but it's okay. It's all right to be quiet, guys. I just hope that you take advantage of the ability to reach out directly to Dr. Caesar, but it's okay to be quiet. That's all right.
It is.
It is not a problem. Dr. Caesar, I appreciate you. You are so humble and down to earth, off subject, but I also love your outfit and decorum. Amen. You know who that was, right? All right. That was Rhonda. Okay.
Rhonda's my new BFF.
Yes. So we need to move on. We have to have enough. We have had enough pep talks. Absolutely. Yes. Sorry, Danette, you know I'm vocal. No, I love you being vocal. Rhonda's one of my oldest friends from childhood. So no,
Okay.
that's okay.
Beautiful.
All right. So I don't have anything else. Again, I'm sorry that, oh, wait, let me just make sure. No, I don't. I am sorry that we weren't able to stream live on Facebook, but I was able to get a number of people to come over into the Zoom from Facebook. We're on YouTube, but nobody expects us to be live on YouTube. That's okay. I am going to I'm going to upload this into the group shortly. And I just love this, Dr. Caesar, I know that this is what you do. This is how you make your money, that this is your profession. So I appreciate that you're giving it to us today for free. And, just because I always do, I'm telling you, have an open invite. So if you ever want to come back, you want to try something out on us, you want to, you're moved in your spirit to say something else to CDPD, you just let me know and we will schedule you again and again. I really appreciate you and I thank you. I thank you all for joining us. And again, you're going to get all, yes, and okay, announce on Facebook that you live stream on YouTube. Yes, I'm going to, but I wasn't supposed to live stream on YouTube. Yes, Dr. Caesar slayed it. Okay. Yes, she did. Right? They high-fiving each other. I know I did tell people it's on YouTube, but they don't expect it, like they expect it to be on Facebook. So don't worry. I am going to so promote this video, and Rhonda and Mildred will help me, and all you other people, I'm not going to call you out because you didn't say anything. You guys will help me promote this one because it was excellent. And I thank you again, Dr. Caesar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Johnette, and thank you so much, everyone.
All right, then. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.